Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. Cybertron had once been a beacon of mechanical perfection, a world where metal spires pierced the sky, and every being, every cog, and wire served a precise function. But now the planet lay in ruins. The streets were littered with broken machinery and the hollowed-out shells of ancient Autobots and Decepticons alike. The Great War had ravaged Cybertron, leaving it a hollow husk of its former self. For eons, the battle for supremacy had been fought, not just between factions, but over the very soul of the planet. And now the world stood on the brink of something far worse. Megatron sales, voice boomed across the desolate plains, broadcast through every available channel on Cybertron. His words dripped with ambition and the unmistakable fervor of one who had tasted power and wanted more. "My fellow Cybertronians," he said, his deep voice resonating with false warmth, "the time has come for our world to rise again. The time has come for us to cast off the chains of stagnation and birth a new era. Through my plan, Cybertron will be reborn as the perfect machine planet, an eternal engine of precision and power. No more war, no more decay, only perfection." Across the planet, Cybertronians tuned in, hearing Megatron's promise. Some listened in awe, others with skepticism, and many more with outright dread. For the plan, as glorious as it sounded, carried a terrible price. A price that few understood in full. Bumblebee, crouching in the shadows of a ruined tower, listened to the broadcast with a heavy heart. He had fought Megatron before. He knew the Decepticon leader's twisted vision of perfection. And everything and everyone. This new pedal. As the broadcast ended, Bumblebee's communicator crackled to life. A voice came through, low and urgent. "Bumblebee, are you there?" It was Arcee's reliable, fierce Arcee's, who had been with him through thick and thin. Her voice carried an edge of worry, one that mirrored Bumblebee's own feeling. "I am here," he replied, his vocal processor buzzing with static. "Did you hear Megatron's latest masterpiece?" "I heard it," Arce confirmed, "and I don't feel like it. Something. Sci-Fi hiding something. We need to find out what." Bumblebee agreed. "I have a lead, an old informant. Used to work for Starscream. I am meeting him tonight. Hopefully he knows something." "You sure you can trust him?"
Never, but it's sorry back.
The night came quickly on Cybertron, though the sky never truly darkened. The planet's massive moons and the faint glow of distant stars cast a dim light over the ruins, creating long shadows that twisted and shifted in the wind. Bumblebee made his way through the wreckage, his yellow armor dull and scarred from years of battle. He moved quietly, avoiding the patrols of Decepticons that now swarmed the planet in preparation for Megatron's plan. He reached the rendezvous point, a dilapidated bunker on the outskirts of Issakan. The air was thick with tension as Bumblebee entered the bunker. He saw the informant waiting, an old, wiry Mech with rust eating away at his joint. His optics flickered as he scanned the room, clearly on edge. "Bumblebee," the informant rasped, his voice gravelly from disuse. "You came." "I came," Bumblebee replied, keeping his tone neutral, "but you better make this worth my while. What do you know about Megatron's sales plan?" The informant shifted uneasily. "It's us, worse than you think. Much worse. Megatron's not just planning to rebuild Cybertron. He's gonna sacrifice every organic life form across the galaxy to do it." Bumblebee's optics widened. "What?" The informant nodded grimly. "He's got this thing, some kind of machine, a program he's calling the transmutation protocol. It's designed to convert organic matter into pure energy that will be fed into Cybertron's core. That's how he plans to revive the planet. He's gonna wipe out entire species, whole worlds, just to power his perfect machine." Bumblebee's mind raced. He had known Megatron's plan was dangerous, but this was genocide on a galactic scale. It wasn't just about Cybertron anymore. It was about the survival of organic life itself. "Why hasn't anyone else spoken up?" Bumblebee demanded. "Surely someone in the Decepticons knows about this." "They do," the informant said, his voice lowering to a whisper. "But Megatron's got them all in line. They were either too afraid or too blinded by his promises to do anything. Those who try to resist disappear." Bumblebee's fists clenched. He had to stop this, but how? He was just one Audiobook, and the rest of his comrades were scattered, disheartened by years of war. He needed help, and fast. I need proof, Bumblebee said. Something concrete that I can show the others. If I can convince them, maybe we can stop this. The informant hesitated, then reached into his chest compartment, pulling out a small data drive. Here, this has everything. The blueprints for the transmutation protocol, the timeline, the locations itself there. Bumblebee took the drive, nodding his thanks. You did the right thing. The informant shifted again, his optics darting around the room. I just hope it's not too late. Before Bumblebee could respond, the bunker door exploded inward, and a squad of Decepticons stormed the room. Leading them was Starscream, his red optics gleaming with malice. Well, 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 Starscream sneered, his voice high-pitched and mocking. What do we have here? A little Autobot conspiracy. Bumblebee shoved the data drive into a hidden compartment in his arm and drew his blaster, ready for a fight. Starscream, he growled. I should then known you'd show up. Starscream laughed, spreading his wings. Oh, Bumblebee always so predictable. Did you really think you could stop Megatron's Psychran vision? You read too late. The Decepticons moved in, weapons drawn. Bumblebee fired first, taking down 2 of them with quick, precise shot. But there were too many, and soon he found himself pinned against the wall, his system sparking from the damage. You reach a fool, Bumblebee, Starscream hissed, stepping closer. You and your Autobot friends are relics of the past. Megatron's sense future is inevitable. With a final sneer, Starscream raised his arm, preparing to deliver the killing blow. But before he could strike, a flash of blue light filled the room, and Starscream was blasted back, crashing into the wall with a pained screech. Bumblebee looked up, his optics focusing on the figure standing in the doorway. It was Erfeast, her blasters smoking from the shot that had saved his life. "Need a hand?" she asked, grinning. Bumblebee managed a weak smile. Took you long enough. Together, they fought their way out of the bunker, leaving the Decepticons scrambling in their wake. As they escaped into the night, Bumblebee clutched the data drive tightly. He had what he needed, but the real battle was just beginning. Bumblebee and her Christ didn't he stop running until they were sure they had put enough distance between themselves and the Decepticon. The ruins of Iacon gave them plenty of cover, but Bumblebee's son Mine was racing too fast to care about the landscape around him. His optics kept glancing at the hidden compartment in his arm where the data drive rested. That drive held the key to stopping Megatron, but the weight of what he had just learned pressed down on him like a crushing load. Are you going to tell me what was on that drive, or are we just running for our health? Arsef's voice broke through his thought. Bumblebee slowed his pace slightly, still catching his breath from the skirmish. It's worse than we thought, Arsef. Megatron's end plan. Isn't he just about reviving Cybertron? He's going to sacrifice every organic life form in the galaxy to do it? He's developed something called the transmutation protocol. It converts organic matter into pure energy, and that's what he's going to use to power Cybertron's core. He's planning on wiping out entire planets, living beings, ecosystems, everything. Ice's face darkened, her optics narrowing as the full weight of what Bumblebee said sank in. Megatron's Uranus completely lost it. This isn't Tia revival, it's genocide. Bumblebee nodded grimly. We have to stop him, RC, but we can't. We need to get back to the others. Show them what we've all found. I don't care if some of them think Megatron's plan could save Cybertron. If they knew the truth, knew the cost, they'd never go along with it. We'll need to move faster, she replied. Starscream 1 teeth stay down for long. And he's still gonna report this to Megatron. We'll have the entire Decepticon army on our tail before we know it. Bumblebee clenched his jaw. Then we move now. They didn't waste another moment together. They made their way through the labyrinth of Cybertron's ruined streets, keeping to the shadows as much as possible. Bumblebee's internal systems hummed with tension. He knew they were running out of time. Megatron was already in the process of activating the transmutation protocol, and once it was fully online, there would be no stopping the destruction. They arrived at a hidden Autobot base, deep in the catacombs, beneath Cybertron's surface. The base was sparsely populated. Most Autobots were spread thin across the galaxy, defending against the Decepticon threat on multiple fronts. But those who remained were some of Bumblebee's most trusted allies. Ratchet was the first to greet them as they entered the base. The medic's face immediately creased with concern when he saw the battered state of Bumblebee and Archie. What happened out there? He asked, rushing over to assess their damage. Bumblebee waved him off, too focused on the mission at hand. It's not important right now, Ratchet. We've got bigger problems. He pulled the data drive from its compartment and handed it to him. We found out what Megatron says planning. You need to see this. Ratchet took the drive and hurried to a nearby console, plugging it in and accessing the information. As the data streamed onto the screen, his expression went from confusion to horror. This is madness, he muttered. If Megatron activates this protocol, every organic being in the galaxy will be wiped out. We know, Bumblebee said, his voice tight. That's why we have to stop it. Arcee crossed her arms, her optics scanning the base. Where's everyone else? We're going to need all the help we can get. They're on their way, Ratchet replied. I sent out a distress signal. As soon as you two were in trouble, Wheeljack and a few others should be arriving soon. As if on cue, the sounds of heavy footfalls echoed through the chamber. Bumblebee turned to see Wheeljack enter, his face set in a determined expression. Behind him were several other Autobots, including Ironhide, who gave Bumblebee a curt nod. Looks like we've got ourselves a real mess, Wheeljack said, glancing at the data on the screen. Megatron said, it's really gone off the deep end this time. We need a plan, Bumblebee said. Stepping forward, we can. Just charge in blindly. Megatron's already started the process of activating the transmutation protocol. We have to get to the core and shut it down before it's too late. Wheeljack rubbed his chin, his mind already working through the possibility. I might be able to rig up something to disrupt the protocol, but we'll need to get close enough to the core to plant it. And with Megatron's forces guarding the place, that's not going to be easy. I will take care of Megatron, Bumblebee said, his voice steely. We just need to make sure we get to the core before it's almost fully operational. Ironhide stepped forward, cracking his knuckles. You can count on me to clear the way. I've been itching for a good fight. The group exchanged determined looks. They all knew what was at stake. This wasn't just about Cybertron anymore. It was about the survival of every living thing in the galaxy. Without wasting any more time, they set out. The journey to the core was treacherous, with Decepticon patrols swarming the area. But the Autobots moved with precision, taking down enemy units swiftly and silently when necessary. The tension was palpable as they drew closer to their destination, every second ticking away like a countdown to the galaxy's center. Finally, they reached the core. It was a massive structure, pulsing with energy as the transmutation protocol began its activation sequence. Megatron stood at the center, his back turned to them as he manipulated the control. Eerie, too late, Autobots, Megatron's voice echoed through the chamber, even though he hadn't turned to face them. Soon, Cybertron will be reborn, and you will be nothing more than a footnote in its history. Bumblebee stepped forward, his optics blazing. This isn't a rebirth, Megatron. It's murder. You were going to destroy entire worlds just to bring Cybertron back? Is that what you really want, to be the ruler of a dead galaxy? Megatron turned slowly, his red optics locking onto Bumblebee with cold fury. You don't understand, Bumblebee. Organic life is weak, temporary. Machines are eternal. Cybertron will be perfect, free of the flaws that plague organic worlds. This is the future, the only future. Bumblebee shook his head. That's where you be wrong, Megatron. The beauty of life, whether it's organic or mechanical, is in its imperfection. You were trying to play God, but all you were doing is destroying everything that makes life worth fighting for. Megatron's lips curled into a sneer. Spare me your sentimental drivel. You were nothing more than a pawn. Bumblebee always have been, always will be. With a roar, Megatron lunged forward, his fusion cannon charging with lethal energy. Bumblebee barely dodged the blast, rolling to the side and firing his blaster in return. The chamber erupted into chaos as the Autobots and Decepticons clashed, the sound of metal against metal filling the air. Arcee and Ironhide fought their way through the Decepticon ranks, giving Wheeljack the time he needed to set up his device. The inventor worked frantically, connecting wires and calibrating the machine that would hopefully shut down the transmutation protocol. Bumblebee faced off against Megatron, their battle a blur of flashing weapons and searing energy blasts. Megatron's strength was overwhelming, but Bumblebee's speed and agility kept him in the fight. Every blow they exchanged reverberated through the chamber, shaking the very core of Cybertron. You can T-win, Bumblebee, Megatron growled, his voice filled with malice. I've spent centuries planning this. You were nothing more than an insect beneath my heel. Bumblebee gritted his teeth, refusing to back down maybe, but this insect is going to stop you. As they fought, Wheeljack's seat device beeped to life, its legs flashing as it began to disrupt the protocol. Megatron's eyes flickered with realization, and he turned toward the core, fury blazing in his optic. No, Megatron roared, charging toward Wheeljack. But before he could reach him, Bumblebee intercepted, tackling Megatron to the ground. The two of them grappled, each trying to gain the upper hand. In the chaos, Wheeljack completed the final calibration, and with a surge of energy, the transmutation protocol began to shut down. The Coruscant grew quieter, its lights dimming as the device worked its magic. Megatron screamed in rage, throwing Bumblebee off him with a burst of strength. "You've ruined everything," he bellowed, his voice filled with venom. Bumblebee stood, battered but resolute. "No, Megatron, you ruined everything the moment you decided that power was more important than light." The core powered down completely, the threat of the transmutation protocol vanishing with it. Megatron, realizing his plan had failed, let out a roar of frustration before retreating into the shadows, vowing revenge. The Autobots stood victorious, but the cost of the battle weighed heavily on them. Cybertron would never be the same, but they had saved the galaxy from certain doom. As the dust settled, Bumblebee looked out at the battered remains of their home. "This isn't over," he said quietly, "but at least we have a chance now." Ares placed a hand on his shoulder, "And we'll fight for that chance, no matter what." Together, they watched as the first rays of light broke through the darkness, a symbol of hope for Cybertron's future and for the universe beyond.